Alright, this is take 2 of this video now. Just got done a little bit of rambling. I kind of got all over the place. I'm going to kind of keep it straightforward because I kind of forgot what I was going to title this video, and then I got this straight up talking about work and everything else. But alright, so this video is going to be about self-worth. So that's going to be the whole topic, more or less. So to begin, from last video, I'll begin with just saying that I was doing an experiment that I previously mentioned where I applied to an internal position at the main library for the campus that I'm working at right now. It is technically entry level. I forgot to mention last time that it did require you, or it wanted you to have preferred qualifications in Adobe Acrobat, which I have no idea what that is or have never used it or whatever. But that position got back a hold of me Tuesday. It's currently Monday, August 3rd. And that position denied me, as much as I'd hate to say it, but I think the university, not gonna lie, kind of failed the experiment that I was setting up, which is just, if I can't even get a position where they want you to have a degree, but they only pay $13 an hour, and I almost forgot to, but I also had to write a cover letter for this position just to apply to it, so there was that too. But if I can't get a position that's paying $13 an hour with a full-on bachelor's degree that the university even, gave me, because I went to this university, that just goes to show that they are in a bad hiring state right now. So, whatever. I know, again, I mentioned, I don't have experience in Adobe Acrobat or whatever, but, I mean, I don't think that's really too hard to teach me, train me, and especially if you're only paying me $13 an hour. Don't expect me to have super high qualifications for, an entry-level position, pretty sure, if you're paying me that amount. Anyhow, that, and then after I got denied from that position, without looking at Reddit or watching YouTube and stuff like that, I got to dooming on my own, and I got to looking at all the applications that I put in, whether it was Indeed, company websites, internally at the campus that I'm working at, and just this year alone, for the past 8 months now, since it's August, I have applied to about around 150 positions, which I know, again, if you go on Reddit or whatever, you see a bunch of people be I've applied to 500 or X amount of positions or whatever, and it's just I get that number that I just threw out is kind of significantly less than any of those type of numbers. But again, where I'm located at, there aren't really many opportunities per se. I wouldn't say we have not tons of entry level positions, but excuse me, how should I say this, the median income for the area that I'm at, technically by the state, and I feel it's skewed because you have to include the president of the university, for example, which is I believe he makes $750,000. So you add those type of people in there, and then hire executives and stuff like that that work on this university, and the average income per household here in the county that I'm in, it's $48,000 if I'm not mistaken, but realistically, I'm pretty sure that number is more $30,000, $24,000 to $30,000 if I'm not mistaken. Because technically working the full year and stuff like that, I make about $38,000, so I'm almost there. As far as I'm over what I believe is the average, the actual average if you take out like the actual university and stuff. But you know, that's not really a lot of money. I'm sure that probably that number is gonna sound like crazy, but then again, like I'm living in a trailer. I'm still living with parents and stuff like that, so it's not like, you know, the amount of money that I make for the area that I live in is really good either. Um, but anyhow, I got to thinking about all that stuff with all the positions I applied to and stuff, and like being denied over and over and over again. And there was like another two other positions I got denied from after I looked at the one I was doing an experiment on. And you know, I'm just kind of getting tired of looking at the robot emails that are just like, sorry, we moved on. Here's a link to, you know, our portal, job portal. Please apply again. Is basically the gist of any and all of these, you know, careers, jobs, whatever that I've applied to, and it's just like so tiring. So I like, not gonna lie, I kind of like just crashed out a little bit on my mom, and you know, she got to telling me like, you know, obviously like everybody's gonna say like everything's gonna get better, and you know, you just gotta keep pushing and, you know, work through it and stuff like that, yada yada. But like the next day after I like did that to her and stuff, you know, she sat down with me and we got to thinking, or I don't know what put her off or whatever, but like she literally said, you know, we're white trash or trailer trash, you know, living in a trailer park and stuff like that. She's in her 50s and stuff, and it's like I just got to thinking though, like we really are and stuff, and that kind of put me off a bit more. So I've been just kind of in this attitude of like, what is the point? You know, I'm questioning my self-worth because, you know, I'm really trying not to like copy like 1,000 other people that you see on like Reddit or you see on just these doom type YouTube videos and stuff. But like the whole spiel of like, well, you know, you're told to go to school and like then you'll get a high paying job and this, that, and the other. But like beyond that, because not gonna lie, nobody in my family, like if there was something less than a first generation student as far as like universities and higher education and stuff like that, I would be less than that. My family has been here since I believe the 60s, and even before that, I mean, I'm not really too familiar with any family from where they came from or whatever. I know they came from like Tennessee, Kentucky area or whatever, but I don't believe anybody in my family for at least like as many generations back as I can think of has ever even thought of going to university. And not gonna lie, now that I'm thinking about it sitting here, I believe like a great many of family members like dropped out of high school. So I'm like beyond first generation. Like I'm just like, you know, I gotta be like a what I want to say, like an Albert Einstein to these people type of thing in a way, somewhat, because it's like I don't know, man. It's just kind of crazy. I know like I have cousins that are a little bit younger than me, and like they dropped out of high school, like that type of stuff too. So it's like even recently, because I believe one of my cousins is like 16, so they would be like a sophomore right now. And I remember them dropping out of like high school, like freshman year, pretty much. You know, and their parents let them have it and stuff. But again, I don't want to get too much into that. But still, like that type of idea that not only did I do all of that stuff, and like, not gonna lie, because I am in this position where I'm the first ever person, and we have no like family friends or whatever that's ever went to university or anything like that. Maybe one one exception. We do have a family friend who is technically like a nurse practitioner, but like, not gonna lie, nursing is a whole other thing. So I don't really, in my opinion, count that, because I feel like if I had to put nursing as far as like on the level scale or whatever of like higher education, I put it more closer to a trade than I would an actual, like, how do I want to say this, like, education towards like humanities and sciences and stuff like that, in a way, just for the fact that I get, obviously, nursing, you have to do all that stuff or whatever, but with nursing, I feel like it's more closely related to a trade, because it's always going to be a necessity and everything else. And you're just kind of like reverse engineering some of the concepts that you're getting, compared to, like, take for instance for me, doing like business stuff and everything else. You're pretty much learning your stuff straight from a book, whereas like nursing and stuff like that, you got to do everything like hands on, same as like HVAC or electrical or carpentry, whatever. So, but anyhow, that's like one person that we know of. And I mean, just thinking of the fact that I'm not only the first person to ever do this, but like, I don't know what I'm doing, to be very honest. Like, nobody knows what they're doing, but like, I have no idea what I was doing when I even decided to go to university, which, at least I don't have to pay for anything, not gonna lie. I was lucky with that, because I was able to go in the first place, because because I remember how it started, because the county and technically the state that I live in is so poor. And for like a while, like, a lot of universities didn't have a lot of funding, because they were getting tons of like out of state and like out of country people to go to any and all of the universities here in state. They created this scholarship to help lower income and everything else. So like, I was lucky to do that, which um, yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but yeah, that's like a whole thing. So it pretty much got paid for and everything else. The only thing I had ever had to pay out of pocket was like books and stuff like that. And more or less, like, I kind of got away with a lot of my classes not having to buy a book, because they were dumb. So they weren't needed. I mean, I got my degree, you know. Um, but yeah, I'll get into talking about that. But like, after the conversations with her, and with looking at like all these positions I applied to and stuff like that, I don't know if it's like nostalgia or what, or maybe going back to maladaptive daydreaming and stuff like that. I just really got to thinking, like, all the people that I graduated with in my high school, and some of the people I know went to the same university, because obviously we're, in the same town and stuff like that as the university and everything else. And only like a handful of people that I actually was either in class, or I actually saw either on social media or just whatever announcements. And I got to thinking, like, so many people are like passing me up right now, that where I'm at right now. And again, I don't know every living situation or like course of life that everybody's at that I graduated with, but everybody that I kind of put myself with, that went towards getting higher education and stuff like that, a degree, is either in a state of like, they're married or getting married, they have a relationship, they have the ability to go even higher, which, I mean, I know I did, but it came at a cost, in a way. But anyway, they either are seeking even higher education, or they have a really well-paying job. Not gonna lie. And one of those in particular, which was like the whole high-paying job thing, because they actually got a position at the university, and I believe their degree that they got, which I just thought was the stupidest thing and was just mimicking me was they had what was it? Philosophy, not psychology, philosophy. And their position at the time, they've now moved to a whole other area or whatever, work, as far as last I saw, which was like a couple months now. Their position was something to do facilitating the sports of the university or whatever. It was like some small time sporting events type thing. And I believe, because I got to look at, salaries and stuff like that, since where I'm at is public university, yada yada, you can kind of Google their name and their salary, whatever. And I believe they started out at like $45,000, which I know isn't like significantly more than what I'm making or whatever, but this person literally got a degree that I feel like is kind of lesser needed than, say, a business degree or an economics degree that like I have. And yet they were able to get a position that paid a little bit more, and the bigger picture of it all is like they got an office job, and that's a big, like, win, that I would say that's kind of what I'm wanting. I've never known anybody in my family or whatever to have anything remotely like an office position, unless you count, a call center, which I don't, because, those are technically minimum wage jobs and stuff. But, that was my goal getting into this and stuff, is I wanted to do something, right? I got a degree, and I just wanted some sort of cozy office job, or just like some sort of office job where I'm just like not, and nobody minds me or whatever. I get my stuff in for the day. I either go home, or like I can actually have a life outside of work, so that I'm not feeling overwhelmed or overburdened by what I'm doing, and I can start having a life. Because, not gonna lie, like, all throughout the whole entire time of grade school, whether it was like elementary, middle school, high school, I literally would just go to school, go home, go to school, go home. I never had a relationship with anybody. I never really had any friends or anything like that. Like, I guess I had a small group of people, but it was like in school. I never saw them outside of school or whatever. So I mean, it's just like, I feel like I'm still in that loophole where not only do I not have a third place to be where I can enjoy myself or whatever and do stuff that, interests me, but like, I have no one to talk to, like, that's either my age or has similar interests in me. And so I'm like feeling like I'm stuck in my own head. And again, the only way that I can do anything about it is go to Reddit. And I kind of hate doing that, because it's like, then the reverse side of that double-edged sword is that I get the dooming, because there are some people that's in a similar position as me right now, where, again, I don't know if they went to work, go home, type of deal, but, they have similar stories to tell. That's like, I got a degree, I can't even get a job type stuff. Or, I'm never going to own a home, so it's just overwhelming my head sometimes. But, again, the whole point is like, I just got the questioning, like, what am I even doing, to be very honest. And I really don't know. I've questioned myself a couple times doing this personally, where it's like, what do I want in life and stuff like that. And it's changed, obviously. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to own a home, let alone like be able to afford rent and, utilities and all that. Excuse me. But I just don't know. And I feel like that's when I get into the thoughts of, living homeless, or doing a vagabond type lifestyle where I just hop trains, or, living in a camper type stuff. And besides just that, just like honestly thinking about like I've been thinking a little bit less about money because I have an amount, stored, saved, whatever. But obviously, you're gonna need money to survive. So it's not like I can quit my job right now and live off of $20,000 for the rest of my life. And then I I just question like what I'm doing there. Because obviously I'm not spending the money there. It's just sitting. I mean, it's gaining interest or whatever, but I'm not really enjoying myself with the things I have or whatever. To a degree. I mean, not gonna lie, I did, like I mentioned in the last video, I bought like a huge amount of stuff to work on for, um, hobbies and stuff like that. Which I will say, as far as that goes, I think I'm gonna try to make a video next week or whatever where like I'm just gonna exclusively do hobbies and stuff like that, and I might start doing those type of things, maybe to get my headspace out of this type of stuff. So, who knows? But anyhow, yeah, I mean, I just got to thinking like, what am I even doing? You know, I'm I feel like I'm kind of halfway there where I'm questioning, should I give up and should I still persevere? Because I mean, I've kind of given up on work a little bit. Um, like today's Monday now. It's like 1 in the morning. But last Friday, I took the day off just because like I there was no work for me to do type stuff. And then there was some work related things that I just getting into my head and stuff like that. And like after I got off work and stuff, I was like questioning like why am I even bothering with this? Because it doesn't really affect me. I'm not higher management. I'm just like lowest man on the totem pole type stuff. Why should it affect me? You know? So that's pretty much that, I guess, for the most part. That's, kind of where I'm at for the moment. I'm just in this state where I'm kind of questioning things, but I'm still trying to hold in there because, again, I have some sort of hobbies keeping me busy and stuff. Hopefully. I've been questioning that stuff too. Um, I had like some amount of things with the Warhammer stuff that I bought, and I put it back aside and I relisted it or whatever, trying to sell it. I did manage to sell some of the stuff, so I got a little bit of money back, but like I'm kind of questioning like, I feel a little bit guilty for all the stuff that I bought because it's just a lot, to be very honest, but also I'm questioning like why should I even bother spending stuff because I know in the previous video I know I also mentioned like I kind of started doing a league, but it's kind of like not at the same time, and I've just kind of given up on that whole idea. I've been just staying home for the most part, and I haven't even bothered to like join in the league per se or whatever, so I'm not really seeing people. And again, that might be an issue on my part, obviously, because I need to push myself out there to go to this place and stuff and actually see and talk and converse with people. So, and I mean, that's a whole other issue. Is I just kind of question that because, it'll be like a whole week before I do an actual thing. And I'll be like, I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do it today. And I get up and it's like, I don't see the point. I don't want to do this thing. I just feel like it's a waste of my time type of stuff. So again, it might be just the whole work and stuff kind of overflows into me even wanting to try new things and do hobbies and stuff like that. So I'm just, again, I'm in this state where I'm kind of losing faith a little bit. I've kind of started giving up a little bit more on work, and I don't know what's going to keep me together besides just thinking that, money's going to be still rolling in and stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as stuff goes. I know this is kind of depressing, and again, I'm getting more into the whole dooming again, but I really don't know what else to say that's positive other than I'm forcing myself, and that's the key word. I'm forcing myself. I'm not really enjoying it per se, that I gotta do hobbies and stuff like that. So hopefully things will get better. Hopefully, again, I'm trying to distract myself again from all these negative thoughts and stuff. And I'll be honest, I've been trying my best to delete stuff like Reddit, but literally Reddit is like my last app that I have that actually like converse with people somewhat and stuff like that. Like, I know I mentioned I have Facebook, but more or less that's for marketplace and stuff, and I do sell some things and everything else. So I don't think I'm gonna get rid of that outright just yet. But yeah, as far as Reddit, that's like my main social media that I actually do stuff on. So that, and obviously YouTube, which YouTube I watch videos and stuff like that. So that's gonna be a whole thing too. If I ever decide to get rid of YouTube, which I don't see happening since I'm doing these type of videos. But yeah, man, like I'm just out here questioning my self worth, and it's pretty much about it.